sat in prison for 4.5 years, even after I was acquitted. Unfortunately, due to the low standards of proof and evidence needed for a violation, I've spent almost 5 years on this sentence.
The cases are legion of people who've been wrongfully convicted, people who are actually innocent, had nothing to do with the crime, and then lo and behold, we see them on the evening news or on the front page of the New York Times or the Providence Journal walking out of a prison after having sat there for 10 or 15 years.
They can violate you for basically nothing in this state. I mean, I'm a perfect example. I'm doing 7 years. My charge was dismissed.
The person is brought in and is known as a alleged violator because that person was on probation from an earlier separate unrelated crime. So the person may have received a 10-year sentence, 3 to serve, 7 suspended. The person did the 3 years or maybe even was released earlier than that time, but now is out on the street, has the 7 years over his or her head, and now gets into some sort of a jam, or at least alleged by the state that the person did something wrong. The standard is so low. I mean, it's not much higher if it's even in practice applied as being higher than that of probable cause. And probable cause, as we know, is simply that quantum of evidence that would give rise to a reasonable police officer to conclude that a crime has been committed. So in practice, if you can arrest a person, then you can probably get them convicted as being a violator.
Rhode Island is unique in the sense that we are aligned with Alabama and South Dakota, if that makes any sense whatsoever. They are the only 2 other states in the United States where an individual can be incarcerated for such a minimal burden of proof.
I was in a classroom at OIC before that was CCRI. At the same time, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a B&E took place in Barrington, Rhode Island. After my class, I went home. My brother told me that the police were looking for me. And I said, for what? And I wound up doing 4 years for something I didn't do.
You have 2 people who are identifying, writing letters saying, yes, he was in my class. And there's also more proof that there was a list that he received the book. So you just send somebody to jail on a hearing? It's not right. That's not a trial.
The amount of evidence that is provided to you at a violation hearing compared to the amount of evidence given to you at the time of trial is dramatic. It's like night and day. And I think that's just an issue of fairness. If you have all the evidence at a violation hearing that you had at a trial, chances are maybe the person wouldn't have been violated. And that's the importance of this legislation that will correct all of that.
I look at fairness and justice. If indeed someone was found innocent of doing something that actually put them in prison because it was a violation of their probation, then they should immediately be allowed to leave prison.
If this passes, people who are innocent could request a trial, and if found innocent at trial, they'll be released and won't have to spend any time in prison.
I am finally on parole on this sentence, but I'm still fighting to give back the violation time, or at least get the judge to say time served on the violation. In light of me being acquitted of all charges, and in light of me serving so much time now for not even a single charge. But my hope is to speak on not just my issue, but to support others so that nothing like this happens to them.
just represent a number, though. They represent people. They represent our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our husbands, our wives, and our friends. Let these ribbons throughout this rally today serve as a symbol of those people and what we need to do to continue to bring this fight to this side of this building, to that side of this building, and to that governor's office up there to make sure that we get the results that we need.
I was studying multimedia web design. They say work on something you enjoy doing. And when I went and did it, the justice system had to step in and then rob me from that. They kicked me out of college and everything.
Not everybody's innocent, but not everybody's guilty either. You know what I mean? There's a such thing as somebody false accusing.
My husband was sentenced to 10 years on a probation violation, even though his charge was dismissed.
How would you feel? Think about that. You get accused of a crime, found out you didn't do the crime, throw it out, but you got to stay in jail. It kind of hurts your soul.